I studied mechanical engineering and international affairs, and I was really interested to get into the engineering side of things so that then I could really work on cars and vehicles and the international side of things, because I always had this interest to go overseas and really experience more. And so that's why I actually opted to go ahead and try this international affairs dual major and experience that. Go overseas, try something new, learn some more. So it allowed me to really focus on things outside of mechanical engineering in the specific mechanical engineering approach to developing and studying. So it was kind of nice to be able to look at different cultural aspects of life and then be able to bring that and ensure that I could bring that more into my professional world as I go forward. That was probably the biggest benefit that I actually probably gained from the program. And I think even though I had to do an extra semester to really make it out into and graduate properly, I think it was well worth it, because it really helped me make sure that I was well-rounded and have more experiences to jump right into the workplace. Yeah, as a manager, the interdisciplinary side of things really helped a lot, because essentially engineering, you think about design requirements, what you have to accomplish, what you have to do, but there's a whole lot of other things with liability aspects, legal, cultural differences that you're going to run into inside of an actual company, especially in the international world, where in my case, working for a German automaker overseas, and the importer over here, and working directly with their engineers, understanding how to communicate with them best was really quite good. And then I could also understand our market and their market better to really make those connections, and so that we could get products on the road with the new features that are required, and better understand also what the governments are expecting of us and consumer ratings agencies want of us too. Yeah, as a hiring manager, you see a lot of resumes come in, and if you're looking for somebody that's more of an entry-level position, you're going to see a lot of GPAs, and that has a certain weight to it and understanding. Everybody understands the GPA, but what differentiates a 3.8 from a 3.8 is what else is on, or what's also missing on the actual resume. So if somebody has some international affairs or international experience, they're going to stand out a little bit, where they took the challenge and the time to add more trouble to their program and their daily activities at the university, but also go overseas and actually expand their horizons and challenge themselves in a new environment and actually succeed. That's a big challenge, which makes a resume pop a little bit more on that side, rather than just a normal 3.8 GPA. So as noted before, I'm at Volkswagen Group of America, and so I do manage a small team there. Not necessarily too small, but it's pretty exciting to get into some of the integrated safety activities, which are sort of the new competitive world in the automotive world, and then also electric vehicles. And I do that at the international level, where I coordinate with Volkswagen Group worldwide, really. So Volkswagen Group of America only represents a few of these brands. The ones that you recognize here in the US are going to be Volkswagen, Audi, Bugatti, Bentley, and Lamborghini, and now Porsche's part of us. And actually Ducati too, because Audi just recently bought Ducati, just for your knowledge. Another thing that I did was IAESTE, International Internship Exchange to Łódź, as they say in Polish, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Poland. And also did another one, another exchange at the end, sort of an extra semester to Salzburg at the end of it. And that was sort of I guess, cherry on top. I needed to go back over, or I needed to spend a semester someplace, and actually it ended up being cheaper. So that was one of the drivers to sort of go out and do some of these things, where I could get out and go try something new, and it wasn't really even cost prohibitive to do it, and it was really quite surprising. And then, of course, once all that was done, I got to drive that car, right? It wasn't quite that easy. So after I was done with all of my studies, I actually had at the time a very long beard and long hair. That's me in the bottom left. And this is actually my original first car, 1967 Volkswagen Carmen Ghia. And so I thought there's some things I always want to do to it yet. And so I took it apart, put a Porsche engine in it, and put a 911 transmission in it. And during this time, exactly this time period, I had been applying to a lot of different jobs. And some of them were obviously at German locations and facilities, and in Germany as well as in the US. And I thought, why not? We'll see where we get. I had sent along at this point an application for an internship position at Audi of America. And sure enough, she called me back and said, I got good news and bad news. Well, what's bad news? No position for an internship for you, but we'd like to consider you for a full-time position. And I thought, wow, that's good news after the bad news, which I couldn't even imagine. So it was definitely a very lucky situation. And I think what may have helped with a lot of that was just the ability to say I focused on mechanical engineering, obviously, through studies, but the IA program also helped me actually broaden my horizons and look at some of the other issues which surround engineering at a higher level and get ready for, in this case, a position which was at an international company, which does and actually still does require, did and does require a lot of international communication and coordination. And so through that, I was able to walk in there with a little bit more, let's say, not applied experience, but learned experience where I knew how the culture would be on the other side. I spoke the language, of course, which is going to be, you know, different from one person to another. But if you can bring some of those assets forward, it definitely helps out and launch the career a little bit. Yeah, my senior design project was actually the Clean Snowmobile Challenge from SAE in, I guess, 2004, I believe it was. And so that was kind of the first chance that we got an opportunity to take a look at a lot of design requirements and expectations and create a, let's say, a functioning system, or a system that's supposed to function, to basically improve, I would say, what the intent of that engine was to do and be cleaner in that sense. And so it gave us a real opportunity to take a look with real resources, work in a team, and try to strive to that goal. And that was kind of a really neat experience to be able to try that, especially because with that program, we actually didn't have any, let's say, previous project. It was our first project out. So it was definitely a considerable challenge for us.